Recording in 3, 2. Hey, Zanya, so talk to us. Talk to us about SEO. Tell me one or a couple tactics or strategies that will help bring in new patients and help us better utilize SEO.
SEO is one of my favorite topics. I'm so glad you asked. Actually, what I think is one of the biggest parts of SEO that goes undervalued by companies is there's an element of search engine optimization that has to do with conversion rate optimization. There's, traditional SEO as we think about it is how do I get to the top of page one? But an element of getting you to the top of page one is helping people have the best possible user experience on your website. So doing things that create more engagement with them, get them to stay on the site longer, visit more pages, not just click the back button and bounce back to the search engines. Mm-hmm. So conversion rate optimization, and there's just literally dozens of tactics you can do to kind of improve that experience, actually has a significant impact on how well Google ranks your website, because their number one goal is to give people the best possible answer to the question they asked. And they figure the longer you're on a site, the better the answer probably is.
Gotcha. So then break it down to us. When there's a company, right? And I guess that's what we're like, I guess paying for, like we want to be number one, right?
Yep.
And we hear that a lot, that people say like, oh, well, SEO takes time, right? It takes all these things. What are we paying for?
Great question. And I think every doctor should know this, because SEO is one of those things that it feels like, you just pay this amount every month and you're not really sure what the heck they're doing. And even when they explain it, it's in a completely different language. It's like talking to an alien. Yeah. So in my mind, there's 4 big elements of SEO that your search engine optimization company should be doing for you. The first one, this is a big one that's behind the scenes. It's what's called technical SEO. Okay. So as your website is live and you're doing all of your ongoing SEO, which we'll talk about, technical SEO is the really behind the scenes thing. So this is a computer geek who basically is constantly scanning your site for broken links, things to improve site speed, making sure that you don't have bad backlinks that are coming from Russian, inappropriate websites. There's a lot, basically anybody can send a link into your website, and the worse the link, Google assumes that you're not really paying attention, and so therefore you must like that link. So part of that link cleanup and what they call disavowing those toxic backlinks is a big part of technical SEO. So there's always like a big element of behind the scenes that doesn't look very sexy, but it actually does improve the user experience because it means your site loads faster and it's just better overall. So that's a big part of it. The second part of it, and this is what a lot of people see, this is the content development and distribution. So Google loves an active website. They want to see that you didn't just build it and let it out there like a brochure for the next 3 years with nothing that changes. So there's a couple of really good strategies for that. The first one is blogging, and most websites you'll see have a blog because it's an easy way to kind of syndicate your content distribution. I like to think of blogs as the place where you go to answer your FAQs, those same questions that patients have for you every single time they come in. Those are what go in your blog, because those are also the questions that people are searching Google for. So they're searching for things like, why do my teeth have spots on them? Or how can I straighten my teeth? Or any number of things. And so your blog can answer those questions. And it can be really helpful to drive what they call long tail keyword, which are sort of those search phrases, into your website. So developing the content and then distributing that content. Google wants to know that this blog that you wrote, somebody cares about it and finds it interesting. So you want to push that blog out to as many places as possible on the web where someone has the opportunity to click on it and link back to your website. So for example, you'll often see blogs appearing on somebody's Facebook feed, or it could be in their Twitter feed or on their LinkedIn page or anything along those lines. Reddit pages. So when they push that content out there, they'll give kind of like a teaser of the content. And if somebody wants to read the whole article, they have to click on it, go back to the website, which demonstrates more user engagement that Google absolutely loves. So content is the second big part of it. And that content, like I said, it can be blogs, but it could also be things like developing a new subpage on your site, going really in depth on a particular topic, what we call a pillar page. So there's lots of ways to keep putting content on your site, but just keeping it active is really important.
Gotcha. Okay.
The third section is, and I'm sure everybody's heard of this, what they call NAP listings. So NAP stands for name, address, phone number. And we've all got a Google My Business listing. This is the one where we get those Google reviews. And on that listing, it is a very specific name and address of your business and contact information. Well, there are hundreds of other directories around the web that similarly have their little directory version of what your business might be. And often they're not actually consistent with what Google has published. And so a good part of an SEO company's job, and again, this is really kind of behind the scenes, is to be constantly on the hunt for those different directories to make that information as consistent as humanly possible. So claiming like your Yelp listing and making sure that your address is exactly the same and the name of your business is exactly the same. I have clients, I won't use their real name, but sometimes they'll be like Joe Smith Dentistry. The next time they might be Joe Smith DMD. The next time they might be Joe Smith Dental Office. And because they're almost not sure of their identity, well, that means the rest of the web doesn't really know who they are either. So a big part of it is just this constant hunt for cleanup. And the reason this is so much of a constant chase is Google is always scanning the rest of the web, looking to see if there's other businesses out there that they might have missed. And if they see a business that doesn't exactly match what they have for you, they might create a duplicate listing for you. And then everybody's kind of constantly seeing who else has listings that they didn't get and creating these bad listings. So if you don't have them cleaned up, we call these zombie listings. You can have one bad listing and it just keeps coming back to life over and over again on different directories around the web. And so it's just this constant chase to make sure that everything is clean, consistent, and ready to go. Make sense?
Makes sense. Is there ever a directory where it's like, you don't got to pay too much attention to that one? Or no, all of them?
In a perfect world, all of them, but it also helps for them to be relevant. There's like contractors directories out there. Well, nobody's building bridges in the world of dentistry. Well, so not that kind of bridge. But there's certain ones, you don't have to pay attention to, but there's probably a good 75 to 100 different directories that every dentist wants to make sure their listings are clean for.
Okay.
So it's a lot of work.
Gotcha. Okay. So then what's number 4 then?
So number 4 is off-page search engine optimization. So once your site is built and you've got all of these things going really well, the optimization on the site itself is good. Google is looking for who else gives a hoot about your website. So the idea is that you want to get backlinks into your website that are high value backlinks. Every website has what's called a domain authority. So goldenproportions.com has like a 46 out of 100 domain authority, which is actually pretty darn high. Even Google doesn't have 100 out of 100, believe it or not. Most dentists are somewhere in the like teens to low 20s. So if you can get a link, for example, maybe you ran a top docs profile in your Nashville Living magazine. And as part of that profile, they're going to give you a directory or like a listing on their website. But if Nashville Lifestyle Magazine website has a higher domain authority, maybe they're worth 40 and your website is worth about 20. If they link from their website to your website, it's basically in Google's eyes, it's like street cred. They're saying, okay, this is the popular kid who thinks this dorky kid is actually pretty cool. So I'm going to think maybe he is more cool. So it's literally sort of, it's sharing that popularity when you get backlinks from really high quality websites.
Gotcha. Okay. So then that's what we mainly want, right? The to build the domain authority, the backlinks. Or we want all this, but I mean, like when it comes to number 4, that's what we mainly want, right?
That's in a perfect world, yes. So it's a harder thing to do to get really good backlinks because you want them to be as original and authentic as possible. So for example, if you discovered some newsworthy thing that is happening in your office and you write a press release and you share it and it gets picked up by a news outlet and they backlink to your website, that's got a lot of credibility versus, you got a patient who's a plumber who has a blog on his website and he happens to mention how great you are and he links in. So it's this constant struggle to find the right kind of backlinks from good websites into the doctor's website. And that's really where the money value is in SEO, but you got to be doing all these other things too, or all of that effort is in vain. So it's kind of juggling 4 balls in the air at all times.
Yeah. So when we're paying an agency, this is expected, right? This is like, okay, you guys are doing the technical SEO, you're cleaning everything up, which honestly, as you were saying that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how many links in my mind, in my website, and then to the content development and distribution, either we're doing it or they're doing it for us kind of thing, right?
Yep.
3, making sure everything is consistent with the name, address, phone number. And then 4 is they're also helping build backlinks, right? So then what questions could we kind of ask our agency? Like we're paying them right now. And we're like, I hope they're doing this, but I've been paying them for years and I'm still like on, I don't even know what page, not on one, you know what I mean? What questions could we ask?
Well, it would be really helpful if someone could run an SEO analysis on a website just to see the technical aspects of things. So this is something we do for, my goodness, so many leads that come in, and we'll just kind of run a quick analysis that will tell us where the broken backlinks or where the broken links are, that images are missing their alt tags, all sorts of technical things. And so anybody can run an analysis for you so that you can actually see if your SEO company is doing what you're paying them to do. There's actually services out there, I believe, that will run them for you for free. But you can ask your SEO company to produce an analysis, like run a report like that, and show you that your website is essentially as clean as possible. Seeing the content development, that should be pretty obvious. I mean, you're going to see the blogs they've developed, and you're going to see the traffic that comes into those blogs, especially if they write a really interesting blog. Like years ago, we wrote a blog on, you remember when vampire teeth were a trend? People were actually like shaving down their canines to look like vampire teeth.
That was a trend?
It was a trend. It was a terrible trend, but it was a trend.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
We wrote a blog on vampire teeth. Every Halloween, any client that has some version of talking about that topic just gets a huge amount of traffic because people are looking for how to get actual vampire teeth. They're crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
So they should be able to show you the content. And similarly, they should have a way to run a report and show you what they're doing in terms of your directory listings. That's kind of a slow going process. You're not going to expect a full cleanup all at once unless you're paying for like a really expensive service. But they should be able to tell you where you are and what they've done to date. And then the backlinks, similarly, they can run a backlink report, or they could literally just sort of tell you, I got you a backlink from your local chamber of commerce, from your dental CE group, from your Top Docs magazine issue, or something along those lines. They should be able to outline it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would be expecting at least once a quarter, if not once a month, some kind of review with my SEO agency to walk me through it. Tell me what I got for my dollars.
Yeah, no, 100%. I would expect that too. Could they ever go? I mean, I was just wondering, do you do SEO analysis for people like for free or?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Okay. So like anybody listening right now, if they're like, man, I just want to see if like what this company's doing is true. They can just be like, Xana, run an SEO analysis. Let's see what's happening here.
Yeah, I love doing that because honestly, Michael, one of my favorite things to do, I love doctors who are educated. I'll do a screen share with them and
Mhm.
I'll show them literally exactly what I'm finding. So I'll do like dentist in their town and I'll take the guy who's coming up number one and then I'll put their site next to it and I'll say, look, see, the analysis says you're not doing these things. This website is doing these things. And when they can see it, they'll never unsee it and they'll know what to look for. So no matter who they're working with, they're a lot more educated about what they're paying for.
Sweet. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, guys, you heard it. If you want to get an SEO analysis, reach out to Zanya. Her contact information is in the show notes below. And Zanya, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure. If people wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Best place is on our website, goldenproportions.com. There's a contact page. There's also live chat, which we get all the time. That's monitored most of the day, frankly, because I'm always on my phone, so I can see it come in the evenings. Or frankly, jump on our social media page on Facebook or Instagram and follow us so that you can see some of the things we're talking about. We like to share a lot of good educational information there too.
Awesome. So, guys, definitely go there, or you can find her also on the Dental Marketer Society Facebook group. And Zanya, thank you so much for being with me on this Monday morning marketing episode.
My pleasure. Thank you, Michael.